Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Fundamental Games game playthrough. But this time it's actually a playthrough slash designer interview, and I've done a few of these in the past. I'm always thrilled to have a chance to see what designers have created and how they created it. So today we have with us Wesley Cone. How are you doing, sir?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm pretty good, thanks. What's the best name to refer you by today?
Yeah, you can call me Wesley.
I shall call you Wesley. So for the
It's
audience,
good.
my name is also Wesley. We might have a little bit of confusion there, but I think our voices are different enough. Excellent. All right. And so we are going to be playing a game called H.E.R.O, H-E-R-O, which is an acronym that we're going to describe in the game here. And we've got all kinds of cards set up. This is a cards only game. It's going to be on Kickstarter in, when is this launching?
Yeah, in about 2 weeks. I am currently looking at May 19th.
May 19th. So not far away at all, mid-May. You should see this on Kickstarter. Are you doing a 30-day or a 2-week type of time frame?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Jamie Stegmaier approach for new designers and hit about 35 days.
35 days. Fantastic. So lots of time to check out how this proceeds. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive into this table setup, talk a little bit about the components of the game, which is cards only, but what kind of cards you can talk about, as well as maybe some art and a little bit about the behind the scenes backstory. So we'll talk about that before we get into the game setup itself. And as you talk, Wesley, I'm going to zoom around the screen. If you refer to a specific card, I'll zoom on that, and it'll all be recording from my end. So let's fire in and start off with what is H.E.R.O all about?
Yeah, so H.E.R.O is a game set in a dystopic future, which is very fitting for our time. It's set in a world that I've fleshed out a book that goes with it, about 200 pages, following the character of Isaac, which was that guy over there that had his arm up in the air, from when he was younger, right? And it kind of goes over how he ended up getting his arm, the robotic one, not the real one, obviously.
This is not Luke Skywalker. This is Isaac.
Yeah, yep. And we don't really know a whole lot about his father, so there's that. But yeah, so basically there's the world has gone through cataclysm after cataclysm after cataclysm. It's not a one cataclysm kind of world. And so we have this menagerie of characters that are from a wide array of different cultures and backgrounds and personalities, and they all come from I guess like hard places. Not necessarily all of them. It might be one or two that don't, but the majority do. And they all have this encounter with what I call the river, and they start developing these abilities. The main one being ghost walking, which allows them to jump basically on air as if it is land. So the game itself is set in the sky, actually kind of outside of the temporal world and like eternity, right? And it's set between two sky bases, which you'll see we each have in front of us one sky base.
Yes.
And these heroes are essentially battling it out in the sky between the two sky bases. And they're actually in training for a future war against the H.E.R.O in the temporal world, but they are not in this particular game.
Okay. So this could be a preview of even worse things to come as we train for the outer world or whatever devils or demons are out there.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, to take it a step further, if I can get this first game to fund, one of my goals is that I would love to create an expansion that has an artificial intelligent opponent that is incredibly easy to program. I've already started developing it, and actually involves a little bit of deck building for the AI that's programmable based on your actions as a player or as a team.
Okay. Very cool. So that's for stuff to come. Now, an interesting backstory, and I love how you mentioned, as I zoom over the characters, they do come from all different races and kind of image types, which is really cool to see. You don't always see that in board games and card games, so I love that dynamic that you have there. And how do we decide who we're going to be? Do we get to just be one of these heroes? Do I get 17 of these heroes? What are we doing with these guys?
So this depends on how you want to play the game. Generally speaking, if you have played once or twice, we would lay out all 20 heroes like they are here. And we would each pick one based on our preferential play style, right? If you want to be more aggressive in your play style, you pick somebody with a really solid offense power, solid 80 or 90 offense.
Right.
If you want to be a little more turtley and a little more defensive, pick somebody with a higher defense, right?
Yep.
For a new player who's never played Hero before, I strongly advise picking somebody with higher than 70 defense, or picking somebody like Origin over here in the bottom left-hand corner, because of her ability, which allows her to block one attack essentially. And the reason I recommend that for new players is because it's really easy to knock out a new player if they pick somebody with no defense and don't really know how to handle that character, right? So different characters for different skill levels.
All right. So if I wanted to be Grit, this old grizzled warrior looking dude, can I be Grit?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'll take Akio over here.
Looks like young versus old. I get to represent the older generation, and you are the hip newster.
That sounds good. And then when we take this first hero, we're going to put him in our hand. Okay, him or her.
I will draw Grit. Yes.
And then we're going to take the rest of these. We're going to group them up. We're going to flip it over. We're going to shuffle it, and we're going to set it. We're going to set it off to the side over here. All right. The next step is there are 24 abilities over here. And normally, if you're more advanced, you would take all 24 of these and lay them all face out on the table.
Kind of a drafting kind of mechanism is the idea.
Yep, and that's pretty much what we do is we would draft back and forth to build our deck. So you'll notice there's a deck down there by your sky base, and that's all statistics. There's offense, defense, values of 20 and 30 kind of mixed into that, right? And then you would take, essentially, we would each pick 12 abilities and put them in our deck with our statistics. Right. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to work with preset decks, which are really good for new players and people that have not played before, because it can get kind of burdensome and tedious to read through, learn all the abilities if you've never played the game at least once or twice, right? Once you play it once or twice, you start to learn how the abilities function, and it's a lot easier to draft. So if you want to take those two decks that are closest to you, and I'll take the two closest to me.
I can group them together.
Yep, with the G function. Yep. And flip them over. Oh, I guess I have to. Yep. Yeah. And then we'll flip it over, and we're going to shuffle our deck.
Shuffle it all together. I will have a deck of 24 cards plus one card in my hand, correct?
Yes, exactly. And then what we're going to do is over here, we're going to take this deck here with the rest of the heroes. And it depends on how long a game you want to play. We're actually going to take out a handful of these. We're going to play with 14 heroes in the game total. We already have 2 of them. So we're going to leave 12 left in this deck here. Okay.
Wonderful.
And these heroes will be available for recruiting throughout the game. So there's going to be 3 face-up heroes. This is going to be very much in the vein of Ticket to Ride or Wingspan. So we got our 3 face-up.
Time. So I'm very familiar with both of those games.
Yeah, absolutely. So whenever you decide to recruit heroes later in the game, you can either take 2 face up, 2 face down, or 1 from each, right?
Right. And if I take 1, do I refill it after or before I choose my next card?
After your turn is over. So at the very end of your turn, you'll refill those spaces. So you would have to pick from what you see.
Yep. Good.
And just a heads up before we get rolling, you'll notice all these cards on the side of the field over here. That's for if you want to play up to 4 players. When I go to Kickstarter, the game's coming with 100 cards, and it will have everything you need in to play up to 4 players. And
do you find the game is easier or harder with more than 2 players?
Yeah, it's different, right? Because you have to work with your teammate. You're going to work with the player sitting across from you. And your abilities will often ping off of their abilities. One of the other things is part of the HERO acronym, the H on there is for healing. And it actually allows you to heal your teammates' heroes as well.
So what you're saying is that this is not a 2, 3, or 4 player game. It's a 2-player game or a 4-player game. Is that right?
You can also play free for all. So part of that is that I'm not a big free for all fan in most card games on a personal level. But I know that there are a lot of people that love the politics of free for all. I'm just not one of those people.
Right.
But yeah,
So
so if
the
you're
option's there if you want it then.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are people who really like that about this game because it gets really political at times because you can theoretically use your abilities to help your opponents, right?
Right.
Then the other piece of that H on the healing piece of the card is if you want to heal, you can heal your opponent's heroes.
Yeah.
And there may actually be a time for doing that. So we'll just kind of leave it at that though.
Yeah, and that could lead to king making and all kinds of other things. But we're just playing a duel, so we'll focus on you and I both trying to destroy each other's sky base is the
Exactly.
purpose of the. Okay.
Yeah, so we're trying to take out each other's sky base. You'll notice my sky base or your sky base has 100 defense on it.
Yes.
And so that 100 defense, and there are two different sky bases. I think you and I have the same one because we would be teammates in a 2v2, but there's another one over there on the side. Yep. Splendor and Wonder, the names of the two sky bases. Okay.
Now I'm not your sky base. I am your nemesis.
Okay, that sounds good. But we have 100 defense. They don't have any special abilities or anything at this point in time. Again, that's something that I'd love to include later. But for now, they've got 100 defense. You knock out the 100 defense, you win the game. There's no life points in this game.
Right.
And so you're not trying to chop it down to size. You're not having to keep up with how much life it has. It's either you knock it out or you can actually fatigue it. So if you can do half its damage, you could fatigue it by turning it horizontally, right?
Yeah.
And now it's got half defense. And sky bases can't be healed like heroes can.
Right.
Right. So then I would only have to do 50 to take it out at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one-time hit. And I've played games like Magic the Gathering and all kinds of different card games where it's always about life. So it's interesting to see a card game that focuses on a different strategy to it. And as you described before we started this, kind of a one-hit home run type of thing. But the only way to do that is to have a strategy to build up to that point.
Yeah, and right now we don't have any offense on the field, so we're gonna have to get some heroes out there in front of our sky base. In order to get to your opponent's sky base, you're gonna have to clean up their heroes in front of the sky base first in order to hit the sky base. So you're ultimately trying to build an engine on the field in front of you that is strong enough to knock out all of my heroes and my sky base all in one turn.
Right.
Right. And that's really the goal here. A few other things that are worth noting. You mentioned Magic the Gathering and there's other games like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon and things of that nature. One of the couple of things I wanted to get away from was I really wanted to get away from the life points aspect of it. I really wanted to get away from the building up of mana or energy or lands or whatever you want to call them, depending on the game. And so everything in this game, once you put it on the field, you can use it as soon as you got it out there, right? It's entirely functional and you're not having to build up over time, although there is definitely possibility for building up ramp decks, right?
So there's no energy source I need in order to play my grit. It's just one of my many actions I can choose from.
Yeah, exactly. And then
is there any effects in the deck that my hand size matter that I would have to discard cards to support, or is everything played basically on the tabletop?
Yeah, so there are definitely abilities that feed off of your hand size or that can raid your hand if I so choose, right?
Okay.
And you can definitely have draw power. You can mill a person's deck. The difference is when you mill somebody's deck in this game, they're not out of the game, right? So it's all about setting yourself up for the long-term win. One of the
if I run out of deck, do I shuffle and start it fresh, or is it just depleted completely?
No, it's just gone. The deck's gone. So it's all about how well did you set yourself up for the end game.
So my deck is a limited resource, but it doesn't end the game. It just makes winning a whole lot harder if I don't have anything left to play with.
Yeah, exactly. And then one other point of contrast here is that there's no boosters in this game. And people would say, well, maybe it's like a living card game for sorry. I just completely forgot the name of the company.
Not Steve Jackson.
Fantasy.
Fantasy Flight Games.
Thank you. Yes. Wow, that was really embarrassing. Yeah, Fantasy Flight Games. But in all seriousness, well, I stopped playing Fantasy Flight games a while back, so no offense if you guys are listening to me. But one of the things is that is it like a living card game or an expandable card game, which is the non-copyrighted version of that term. And I would say it could be theoretically have those expansions, but I don't want to my goal was to create a good game, right? And I wanted to have a good game without expansions. And if the expansions add value, then I want them. And if they don't, I don't want them, right?
Right.
All right.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions before we delve into this?
No, we'll go through turn structure as we play, and people can start to see how this unfolds. And we'll kind of talk about some other things in between after we get a few rounds in. So we'll let you go first, and I will watch what you're doing.
Okay, so first thing I'm running with is my reference card here. H.E.R.O is an acronym for what you can do on your turn. There are 4 action choices, but you can only choose one of the 4. One of the selling points of the game is that everything in the game is overpowered. A lot of people don't like that, but they get used to it once they realize that my balance is built into the action decision making and the one of 4 options. So I can't heal anything because I got nothing on the field right now. I can't do any offense, so I'm either going to enhance or recruit. If I enhance, I'm going to draw 3 cards from my deck and play up to 3 to the field. That could be really helpful if I were playing really aggressively.
But you can only enhance actual
heroes,
characters, right? So you can't enhance nothing. You have to have a hero on the field.
Yeah. So when I say play up to 3 cards of the field, and it's clarified in the rules, the rule book itself, but when you play up to 3 cards of the field, you're actually either putting heroes on the field or you're attaching statistics or abilities to the heroes, and you're going to put them like up underneath of the heroes themselves. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
But because I'm playing a little more defensively here, I'm going to actually start by recruiting 2 heroes. So I'm going to come over here to the side. And I'm going to recruit. And so, I like Rohan here. He's one of my favorite kind of go-tos early game because he's got that recruit feature. So I'm going to pick him up into my hand. He can.
Rohan, no, why have you left me?
Yeah, a lot of people like K in the early game. Origin's kind of nifty also if you're trying to really build up a long-term engine. But I'm going to actually draw a random card here as well. Okay.
All right.
And so my turn is over.
You have drawn up to 3 cards, so you recruited up to 2 heroes. All right. And so once you've done that, you refill the hero headquarters, and even though there's 3 other types of actions, you don't get to play with them this turn.
Correct, and that means that is the end of my turn, so we'll send it your way. One of the things I like to tell people who haven't played before is to just kind of follow suit the first couple turns.
Yeah, and when looking at your action sequence, there's a game by Fantasy Flight Games. It's called, let's see if I can remember the name. H.E.R.O Forge, or is that what it's? No, H.E.R.O Forge is the name of the miniatures company. You know where you build a deck out of, or they sell you a pre-built deck. What's that deck card?
Keyforge.
Keyforge, okay. And so you have a similarity in that in Keyforge you have to pick one of 3 factions, and you can't touch anybody else. In yours, you have to pick one of 4 actions. So it's interesting to see how that correlates with a pre-built deck.
Yeah, it was really interesting because when I was building this, originally, I started about 3 years ago, and Keyforge came out and Wingspan came out at the same time, and both of those have some similarities to my game here. One of the things that H.E.R.O does different than Wingspan is that there's a direct head-to-head, obviously, but the 4 action choices are very similar to kind of what you see there. In terms of Keyforge, you still kind of see some of those similarities with like the battling actions and different pieces and the turning your cards horizontal, and it's the tapping or untapping, if that's what you want to call it, but it's much more like Keyforge than you would, in terms of comparing it to like Magic the Gathering, in that style of gameplay. So,
all right. So I'm going to follow suit. I'm going to recruit Ignatia, and I'm going to, I can block. I'm going to do the random as well. We want to see as many heroes as we can this game. All right. So I've got 1 hero you don't know of in my hand, and 2 that you do, and that would make it your turn.
Correct. All right, so my next play is I want to go ahead and get some stuff on the field in order to apply some pressure to you. So I'm going to draw 3 cards from my enhancement deck here.
Pressure. Is there a hand size limit? Do I ever have to discard?
No, so there is no hand size limit. So this is a really important sticking point for me. One of the things that sticking with that overpowered theme, I want you to be able to keep as many cards in your hand as you want. I want you to have as many cards on the field as you want, and I want you to be able to attach as much stuff to a hero as you want. So if you want to build up one really powerful hero with 20 attachments, you can do that if your opponent will let you, right? But if that
hero disappears, then your whole strategy's gone.
There it is, right? But if you want to build up like an army of 10 heroes with no attachments, you could do that as well. So it's really up to your play style.
Right.
Okay.
All right, so you have chose the enhancement. You drew 3 cards. Normally you could play 3 cards, and that includes heroes. So are you playing 3 cards?
I am. Yep. So I'm actually going to start by putting Rohan on the field immediately, and the reason for that is I want to go ahead and start building up my recruitment function here. I was fortunate that he went out quickly, and you're either going to have to find a way to stop him or not, right? So I'm going to drop out Rohan. I'm going to drop out Akio, and then I'm going to throw some defense down here, and I'm going to put it on Rohan. And so when you put a card on the field, you're going to take the card and slide it up underneath of the hero so that you can see the math in the bottom corners. Makes it really easy.
Yep.
If you have abilities, all you want to be able to see is the word ability underneath, so the opponent can't read all the text that's on the card. When I'm working in TTS, I will often use like the hidden zone feature to add abilities, or I'll move very quickly when I'm putting them on and ask my opponent to kind of turn their head away.
Close your eyes.
Yeah, there's a blindfold option if you hit the B button. It's really cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I will try that. I've never seen that before. That is new to me. Very cool.
I learned that a couple games ago, so that was nice. All right, so I've drawn 3, I've played 3, so that makes it your turn.
All right. So right now I'm looking at Rohan, who says for each fatigued hero, you get to recruit a hero from your headquarters. So he's going to give you free heroes if you choose to use offense against me.
Yep.
And when Akio causes another hero to be fatigued, Akio is not fatigued. All right. So you've got some stuff going on there. I have to decide how. And I'm going to follow suit. So I'm going to make sure my deck is shuffled. Draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. And then I can play any 3 cards I want.
Yes, sir. And again, you need to put heroes down before you can put down abilities and statistics, because it's kind of like an RPG in that sense. When I originally set out to create this game, I was thinking about Paragon. It was a MOBA on the PlayStation 4 a long time ago.
Yep.
I also had Shining Force in mind. It was a Sega Genesis game a long time ago, and both of those games, you're building your force and you're leveling them up, and they're gaining in stats and abilities, right? And that was something I really wanted to bring out the flavor in this game.
Gotcha. All right. So we are my mighty wizened grit has a little bit more strength than he first revealed. So now he is a 20 attack and a mighty 90 defense.
Yep. An interesting Easter egg and flavor tidbit. Grit actually works in the forge that actually built Isaac's arm.
So he has close ties to the legend of the world itself. What is the name of this world? Is it an imaginary world, or is this Earth in the dystopian future?
So right now, the heroes are actually battling in the river. The river is eternity itself, which is kind of a strange thing. But the world that they come from is the world of tempo, which is, of course, short for temporary.
Okay. Very cool. What are we going to do here? We are going to play Ignacia. You are capable of greatness, capable of shifting the course of history, capable of bringing life to the dead. So now I've played 3 cards and my turn comes to an end.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to note when I look at your heroes over here is you have 90 defense on grit, and you only have attack power whenever there's fatigued heroes, which is a nice counterbalance to what I put out there with Rohan and Akio. Ignacia's got 70 defense and 20 attack, and she's got like that second attack ability going on with her, which is really cool, even when she's fatigued. So even if I start trying to ping off of my fatigue functionality with my engine, you're gonna counter it with both of your heroes, which is those are a really good way to kind of play back against what I was pushing, even whether that was intentional or not.
And the thing with Grit, if I'm reading him correctly, is even when you fatigue a hero, he gets stronger. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah. And so grammar in this game is really important to me. I am an English teacher. And so unlike with other games, a word means what it says, right? So you don't have to go.
You learn that from that. If anybody's played Magic for even a short amount of time, you know that verbatim is critically important to understanding how to play a game. You've actually done some rules editing of my own rules, and I know how particular you are with wording. So it's great to see it on the game, and that what it says on the card is what it means in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that's basically what's going on here. So I'm kind of frustrated by what you put out there, because you've got a ton of defense and not a whole lot of offense, and I don't have enough damage here. I got 20 and 70. I guess I could do some damage here with Rohan. if I want. But if
Now,
I
when you
fatigue,
go into offense, do you choose who you're attacking?
yeah,
And
you pick who you're attacking. So let's go ahead and demonstrate. So I'm going to do an offensive action. We've done the enhancement and the recruitment. Let's try some offense. So
and
Ignacia
you
here,
can never touch this until I have no heroes. Is that right?
correct. I mean, if you want to put it out there in front of your heroes, I'll take it. But
No, I'm just as an example. So this is completely immune to you until I have no heroes, unless you have a way in your abilities to get around that.
yeah, exactly. And normally I wouldn't actually attack this early in the game, although there's some people who really enjoy attacking like constantly.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them. I would rather build a strong engine. But again, to teach kind of the offensive action here, I'm going to show it to you. So I know that Ignacia has 70 defense.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and swing on her here with Rohan. So I've got 70 attack combined between his statistic, which doesn't do anything for him, and the 70 that's automatically on him, right? So
Yeah.
it'll be 70 attack versus your 70 defense. As long as I have equal to or greater than your defense, I defeat you. So I'll fatigue him. And she's going to come over here into like a hero discard pile just off to the side, right? When she's defeated.
How did you find me? I was in a camouflage shirt. That's not fair.
Oh, he's got jokes.
Oh. All right. So
Wow.
Ignacia has been defeated. So even though she had 70 attack, that's irrelevant. Or she had 20 attack, she doesn't actually apply her attack to you in any way.
Yeah, there's no swing back. It's kind of like if you watch like the old X-Men cartoon series from the 90s, one of the things they would do is they'd jump into battle and they'd go and they'd wail on somebody, and the character would be set back for a second before they counterpunch and fight back, right? And I really wanted to kind of bring that out as well. So I was a big Stan Lee X-Men fan back in the day. So
I watched that lovely animation for many years. I also played the video game, the side scroller.
yeah,
Always fighting those sentinels.
Which system did you play that on?
That was the old 25-cent arcade machine where you popped in, $50 in quarters to try to beat the game.
Yeah, where Colossus like shouts really, really loud when he
That's right.
That's good. All right.
I always loved the Nightcrawler because at least I could jump around the screen. It made me feel powerful.
There you are. you and me are very, very much alike on that. All right. We have more in common than our names. All right. So you've got Grit left. He's got 90 defense. And he currently is sitting at 40 attack. You have 20 on him plus 20 for Rohan.
He's also very angry, and that makes him more strong. You may not realize that, but he's quite angry right now.
That's how that works, yeah. Akio over here has 20 attack, so he's nowhere near powerful enough to like mess with Grit, so I'm not even going to try to touch him. Now, abilities are an interesting feature in this game, so I haven't really touched on those. There's 3 types of abilities. If you go to your ability card down there as a reference card, there's actives, passives, and heroics, and they're signified by the letter in front of the ability on the heroes or on the ability cards themselves.
Yeah, I'll zoom in on one that's in my hand so I can show the viewers. Yeah. Very good.
So if you look at Rohan's ability down here, he's got an active ability, and active abilities can be used every turn, once per turn, except for the turn when you put them on the field. So like a little summoning sickness, if you will. And for somebody who's never played Magic the Gathering, I've learned the terminology because I know a number of people who have. So
So because he's fatigued, even though it was this turn, you get to recruit a hero because you can do your active ability anytime, once per turn.
So he was actually recruited last turn, or he's put on the field last. So now it's been a turn, and so I'm going to use his ability. And you can use abilities pretty much any point on your turn, unless the turn or the card actually reads otherwise. Okay.
Yep.
So Rohan's ability says for each fatigued hero, recruit 1 hero from Hero HQ or reserves to your hand. So because you did not take Kay, I am going to take her to my hand. And I have nothing else on the field that I can do. So we're going to pass it over to you.
All right. Grit needs to figure out who he can find to help him in the cause, because a very evil Rohan, maybe not evil, we just have different causes. Rohan has taken out Ignacia. All right, so we have Origin on the board. Michael is in an interesting, is that a flying device?
Yeah, so Michael's an interesting character. He doesn't show up in the first book that I've written. Yes, that it means that I would love to write more, but again, it depends on how things go moving forward. But he's actually in what is called a dart. So Michael had had a hard life kind of growing up without legs, and he always enjoyed watching the dart racers of the world of tempo. And dart racers are guys, it's kind of like pod racing, except up in the sky and a little bit of that. And he said, I want to do that. And so he actually forged his own dart that he could fly around in on a regular basis and actually use for racing purposes.
Right. That is pretty cool. Okay, Rohan has some 50 defense here, so I'm gonna. Grit can't do anything about that. Grit is currently actually. Okay, so when I go offense, do I fatigue immediately or at the end of combat?
You'll fatigue at the end of combat, which is a really essential piece, because if he had fatigued at the beginning, right, it would count toward his.
That's why I was asking you. So he's, instead of being a 40, he's only a 20 until the end of the round. Okay.
He's a 40 because of the stat you have on him.
Oh, right. He's 40 because of Rohan there. That's right.
There you are.
Okay. And H.E.R.O has no defense. So you know what? I may just have to, before I play down another hero who may just get destroyed by Rohan, I think I have to just take care of Rohan.
Okay.
So my choice in the hero acronym: healing, enhancement, recruit, or offense. Grit has to go against his instinct to find new friends, and he must go on the offense in order to survive the future. So I'm going to go on the offense. I'm going to declare an attack against Rohan, and I would effectively deal 40 damage, which looks like it's an. Oh no, you're 50 defense, aren't you?
No, I'm not. Remember, I'm fatigued. So when a hero's fatigued, they've got
you're half.
Yeah.
So you have 10 plus 30. You're at 40. I'm going to deal 40. So unless you have a trick up your sleeve, I'm slamming Grit in against Rohan.
Yeah.
Revenge against Ignacia.
Yep. Yeah, there is. So 40 to my 25, you destroy him, and he is off the field. And I'll grab my. So any attachments that are underneath of a hero when a hero goes out, go to your own personal discard pile.
Excellent. And so that is all I can do. So I have nothing to repeat with, so it is now your turn. And Grit is fatigued, which means he has 20 attack, which doesn't matter when I'm defending.
Yep.
And because I'm fatigued, I only have 45 defense.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, you got half defense right now, and you can't attack on your next turn, which is good news for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enhance. I'm going to draw 3
to
my hand, and then I'm going to go ahead and drop 2 more heroes to the field here.
Yep.
Okay, so that's where Rohan came in handy, because he gave me that extra card kind of over top of you, right?
Yeah, and I didn't want that to keep happening, so I had to take care of him.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm going to drop an ability on the field, so if you would be willing to blindfold yourself for just a second.
B, the curtain is dropped. The audience can witness it.
All right, you guys got to hold him accountable, because if that curtain comes up, I'm just kidding. All right, so I've dropped the ability on the field. You're good.
The curtain is actually in the player color too. It's a green curtain, just like my player color.
Nice, very cool. I didn't know that. So I added ability to H.E.R.O here, right? So you have no clue what's under there. It could be really quite explosive, or it could build his stats, or it could allow me to draw more cards, or it could look.
I'm not gonna touch it because it might let me see it. So I'm just gonna keep it completely blind to me. It's gonna be a surprise.
Yeah, so if you hold Alt over H.E.R.O, you can see H.E.R.O, but don't hold Alt over the ability itself. Otherwise, you'll see the card.
I won't. Yep. I will be an honest. You'll see it in the video later.
That's fine. All right, so that's the end of my turn. So I drew 3. I played 3.
Okay, so if I wanted to heal Grit, that would take a whole action.
Yep.
But then I could also play 3 cards.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So I can heal, I can enhance, I can recruit, or I can offense. And I'm in a bit of a pickle because you suddenly have an army against me. But
yeah, right. I'm sitting at about 80 attack, and it's an important point to make that I can actually combine the attack of all 3 of those heroes for 1 swing if I want to.
But then they'd all become fatigued at the same time.
Correct.
All right. And I cannot recruit and play a hero during the same turn.
No. And one other point that's probably worth making, and I mentioned it to you once already, but so Grit is currently sitting at 45 defense, and Kay is sitting at 50 offense. So she could actually swing on Grit and knock him out. And then if Aang and H.E.R.O had enough attack power to take out your Skybase right now, I could go ahead and finish you off.
Right.
So not knowing that hidden ability could, in fact, be to your disadvantage right now.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Healing him. Okay, so if I heal him, I can still play 3 cards. So I think I'm going to do the heal action. So I get to heal Grit, and then I can still play 3 cards from my hand.
Yep.
All right. I will ask you to put on your blind, because I'm going to be playing an ability card, but underneath somebody.
All right, I am blinded. I've got a gray blindfold currently.
All right. So we are going to stick that there. You may remove your blind.
There were some very nice folds in that blind. They were well done by TTS.
Yep, they've got all the skills.
Yeah.
All right, so Zoe has joined the field. Grit is happy to have a companion again, and it is your turn. I've played 3 cards, one of which you don't know what it is.
Interesting Easter egg. Zoe is my daughter's name. She was named after her. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. So we got Zoe out there, and I know that Zoe is quite powerful, as with every hero in this game. She has the ability to heal heroes without taking a healing action. And so with that engine building, you essentially circumvented part of the rules by dropping her on the field. Right?
Yes. Because the rules on the cards always supersede the rules of the game.
Yeah. Yep. And
now, I couldn't have done that the turn I played her, though, because it's an A, and an A cannot be used the turn it's played to the field.
Correct. So yeah, you'll be able to use her on your next turn if, for whatever reason, I'm able to do some serious damage to here. But I'm probably not going to do that. I'm going to start. First, I'm going to start by triggering the ability underneath of H.E.R.O, which is...
We have Boost. Discard 2 cards. That just solves that question that I had earlier about does your card hands matter. So discarding 2 cards from your hand, you choose me or you to draw a card for every hero on the field. So I assume you're going to choose yourself.
At this point in the game, yes. Albeit there are some pretty cool combinations that come out in gameplay where it would be to my advantage to fill up your hand as much as I can.
But in this particular case, you're discarding 2 cards to draw 5.
Yep,
and you get to keep that ability.
Yep, so I'm going to drop this I dropped 2 defensive cards into my discard pile. I keep the ability. It's kind of like Superman doesn't lose his heat vision just because he uses it once, right?
So you just enacted a Matrix upgrade.
Yeah, yep, exactly. And then I get to draw 1 card for every hero on the field. There are 5 heroes on the field currently, so I'm going to draw 5 cards to my hand. And so you'll see some of this engine building starting to come into play here. So I still haven't even taken an action yet. I'm just using my abilities currently. I'm going to use K's ability next, which allows me to play a card to the field.
Now, do you have to choose what action you're going to take before you get to start doing abilities, or are you allowed to do the actions first?
Can you repeat that one more time?
So when I start my turn, do I have to decide what of my 4 actions I'm going to take before I can do any of my abilities?
No, absolutely not. You don't need to decide your action until you're ready to start using it.
All right, good to know.
Yep.
So drawing all these cards may influence your decision on what action to take.
Exactly. And that's part of what I wanted to do when I was creating this was I wanted as much freedom as possible in the game without completely breaking the bank, right? And one of the other things here that kind of slows this game down is obviously the conversation that we're having. But this game tends to move a lot more quickly, once you've really gotten into it. So what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to use K's ability here to play a card to the field. So I've already used the card that was an H.E.R.O. I'm going to use her ability now. And I'm going to go ahead and drop, if you would blindfold yourself real quick, make it super quick here. And then I'm going to drop an ability on the field. Hang on. All right. You're good. So I added an ability to Aang there, right?
All right.
And then, so even if
using K's ability.
Yeah, that was using K's ability. So if that ability down there were inactive, I could not use it this turn, right? I'd have to wait till next turn.
Yep.
So now I'm looking at my hand here. I'm considering, which of my 4 actions I want to take. You will note. So one other thing, I want to look at the 2 other ability types down here. We haven't talked about those yet. The passives are always in effect. So we were looking at Grid earlier, and you're talking about how he had 20 plus 20 attack. So basically, he's got that. At all points in time, as soon as he hits the field, his ability kicks into effect, right?
Right.
if you have a hidden ability that's passive, it's always an effect, but you can't use it unless you tell your opponent what it is you're using, right? And it may actually be to your advantage not to use an ability because you want to save it for later. Okay.
Right.
And then the last piece is the heroics. So I actually have a heroic ability in my hand right now. When you read that, it says you place it into your discard pile to use. It replaces your entire turn, and it cannot use any actions or abilities before or after a heroic. So you've noted I've already used 2 abilities, so I can't use the heroic ability that's in my hand currently.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there's that. I don't like kind of the numbers here. I'm a numbers guy, and I'm noting that there's 4 heroes left in the deck and only 3 face up. So I'm going to take advantage of this while I have it. So I'm going to take Michael into my hand. Okay, draw a card for every enhancement card in your deck. And I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Draw a card from your enhancement deck. I apologize. And then I'm also going to take Yasmin, who allows you to play a card to the field when an attack is resolved. Sorry about that. You want to see that again? There you go.
Nope, you're good.
Okay. And then we will refill this with 2 more heroes, and you will note that that deck is depleting pretty quickly.
Sure is.
All right, over to you.
Right.
That is a favorite strategy of mine, is to deplete the resources of my opponent and just make sure they don't have access to heroes or their deck as quickly as I can. But that is only one of many strategies. So
yes. All right. What am I going to do? I have no cards in my hand, 21 cards in my deck, and you have 3 heroes on the field. I am going to activate Grit's ability. So this is called Revelation. I get to view your hand and discard any 1 card from your hand.
Is there an easy way to make it so you can see my hand?
If you put them all on the table,
okay,
I think it's probably the easy. Yeah, I don't know if you can reveal your hand in any way.
There you
go. So I can get rid of Yasmin, Michael, shielding, drain, fortification, stat attacks. You've got all kinds of goodies up your sleeve here. Discard all of one opponent's enhancement cards.
That would be the ability that I was telling you about.
Yeah, so if I had one guy totally beefed up with abilities, that card would devastate him.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to say that Mr. Michael is not going to join the fray today.
Hang on. There you go.
Michael will not partake in this event that is our sky-based battle. All right, so that was before I even chose what I want to do on the turn. I don't have any other abilities, so I will still choose what I want to do. I don't need to heal, so I can enhance, recruit, or offense. I am going to recruit the last 2 hidden cards, and I'll say go.
Yeah, it's really essential to make sure you have heroes in your hand in this game at all points in time. Because if you don't have heroes in your hand, that could end up biting you in the backside pretty badly, especially if there is a card in this game called Going Nuclear. If that card goes off and you don't have heroes in your hand, you're pretty much going to lose the game at that point.
Nuclear. The word itself describes it.
Yeah, it just completely wipes the field, right? So if you hit me and I've got it, it's going to trigger the whole field. It's going to explode, and we lose everything on the field. And if you have heroes in your hand and I don't, you'll get yours to the field before I do, and I'm pretty much up a creek without a paddle.
Understood.
Yeah. All right, cool. Okay, so you recruited 2, so that makes it my turn, and I know that you got Revelation under there now, that's a real challenge. You got 90 defense there, and I've got about 80 offense, so that's not good news. Let's see, how do I want to play? First, you know what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead.
Let's interrupt this just for a sec. In your game, you've got all kinds of art. It looks like it's all from the same artist. Did you want to tell us a little bit about them for a minute?
Yeah, so the artist that did the characters, his name is Colpeo Fox. It's a pen name, but Colpeo did the artwork for Cutthroat Kingdoms for AEG Games. it's a lesser known game, but it's got some really nice art going on there. And then the person that did the graphic design is Mohammed Belafki. And he's done a couple of different games, like Strike Tactics is the name of one of his games. You'll see the names of their games on the Kickstarter. I don't have them all memorized off the top of my head. And then I've done most of the synthesizing of bringing the art and the graphic design together, but with the help of a few others. And then on the box, whenever you see the box for the game, you're going to see work by a gentleman by the name of Ryan Williams, who's currently designing a game called Backwoods that he's planning on bringing to Kickstarter, I think, in the middle of May as well. Okay. And yeah, you should touch base with him. I think that would be good. And then also Carl McIntyre is helping draw the artwork for the box as well. And so kind of combining the two of them, I think brought a lot of flavor as well. So yeah, the artists have been great to work with. They've been super patient. They've worked with me as I've gone through the learning process. And part of the thing about being a new designer is you say a whole lot of stupid things because you don't really know any better. And these artists have been so incredibly patient with me. And I speak highly of all four of them. So
excellent. Well, thanks for that little bit of background into the art of H.E.R.O. And it does. It's a very kind of a faded look to it, and that's intentional. And so you don't have any of those super flashy borders or graphics that kind of interfere with the look. You really get to see the characters in their whole and the very simplistic base of the card, so you don't have to worry about a ton of text. You just kind of see their attack power and then a straightforward ability in that faded box. So I like that.
Yeah, and I actually that was a heart that I had for the art from the beginning. Colpeo, I found a piece of his artwork on deviantart.com, and I really like the style of the artwork that he used. And I said, hey, could you replicate this for various characters? And it was more than willing to help out, which was nice. And then I also added on to these. And so when I talked to Mohammed, I said, I really want some minimalism going on with the graphic design, and let's find the easiest way to do that possible. But then I also added on with the flavor text piece, which was something that had been suggested by my brother-in-law, that I would have flavor text on these. You'll notice that sometimes they're in other languages, right? And so those are little Easter eggs for players to kind of go back and look at. Kiata over there in the recruitment pile. Yare Dai,
I saw that.
Zai Isaba, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. I apologize if I didn't. But it's actually Hausen, and she's actually in a Hausen kind of fighting stance. But it actually means that one language is never enough. And that really gets into the heart of what's going on in this game. So
right on.
Yeah.
All right. Now that I've totally interrupted your turn, let's see what you have. What's going to happen now?
Yeah, so I really don't like what's going on with Grit, but I don't really know what to do with him either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trigger Akio's ability again. I'm going to discard two cards here, and I'm going to draw 5 more cards from my deck using Boost.
You're running out.
Yep, I am. On the other hand, I've got a lot more to work with in my hand than you do currently. So
this is true.
We're going to hope you don't have anything that can flush that out. So yeah, there's that. Let's see what I got real quick. Oh, nope. You don't have anything in your hand that can flush that out. Not that you got 1. Okay. So I could theoretically recruit here. I really wish I could take out Grit. I don't really have a great way to go about doing that. What's your hand count? Do you have a hand count?
Yeah, you can see them on the table. I have 2 cards.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use Aang's ability here then. And I'm going to fatigue one of my heroes, and I'm going to fatigue Aang, and I'm going to make you discard the 2 cards in your hand.
That's okay. Isaac and Gambit didn't really want to play this game.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah, because you recruited on your last turn. Sorry, you got me talking, and I forgot what you did.
It didn't help.
No, yeah, and you'll know Gambito right there. His name is definitely hearkening back to Gambit, right, from the X-Men. So, and Grit, that flavor of his name came from Gort from Shining Force. So you kind of see the history kind of playing into some of this. I don't really like a lot of what I have here, just to be completely honest. It's just not rolling in my favor. But I do want to go ahead and fatigue Grit and kind of well, but you got that heal ability, so I don't really want to mess with him. So yeah, you know what? I'll go ahead and I'm gonna enhance one more time and just try to fill my hand up as much as I can. So I'm gonna drop Yasmin down to the field here.
Yep.
Yep. And then I'm going to play. I'm gonna drop an ability if wouldn't mind blindfolding yourself real quick.
Blinded.
Nice. I appreciate it. I'm going to build a nice little combo here with my abilities and have some fun with this, if I can make it work. All right, I'm good to go if you want to. I don't know if you're blindfolded still or not. So I threw Yasmin down with 2 abilities on her.
She's stacked. All right.
And That's your turn. Yep.
Okay, well, recruit a hero from your play area from the reserves. The reserves are almost empty. 1 attack against Origin.
So that's the hero HQ. The 3 face-up ones are the reserves. Would be the face-down deck.
Oh, which is gone now. Okay, so her ability's not even. Okay, we're gonna do a little enhancement here. So draw 3, 1, 2, 3. These 2 are gonna have to have the power to stop you somehow. All right. That doesn't help me as much as I'd like it to. And again, when you're attacking me, my attack power doesn't matter, only my defense matters.
Yep.
Oh, I see. Now, because replace his entire turn, place into your discard pile, can't use actions or abilities. Right. So I've already used an action.
Yeah, you can't use that right now. You have to wait till your next turn.
Yeah. Which is not going to happen because you have reduction. So I'm never going to have a hand again. All right.
Unless you decide to go after Aang right now, except I think you just drew, so you can't really fight right now.
No, I cannot. That one says at random, I see. All right. Well, I'm just going to say, first I'll activate my ability. You get to show me your hand, and I can discard a card with my revelation.
Yeah, and so that's one of the things, like, I don't need to remind you to trigger all your abilities. And so a lot of what's going on in this game, there is a memory element to this game as well.
This card's all non-hero. All right, well, we will take out Under Siege, wherever that is. All right,
so here's I want to go and tell you what I was about to do to you on your next 2 turns here. And this is one of my favorite, hold on, struggling. One of my favorite card combinations. I love to use Boost on my opponent. And I would basically fill up your hand with your deck, and then I'd drop Under Siege on the following turn and make you discard your entire hand.
Yeah, Under Siege looked scary to me. I'm going to lose my cards anyway, but I'm not going to lose it to that one. Your turn.
Okay. Hang on, I got to figure out how to take up this entire deck into my hand here. 5. There we go. And I group those together. Maybe. And 4. Okay. And those are interesting things. If you've never played on Tabletop Simulator, if you will like highlight all the cards and hit the G button, it puts them all in a pile. And then if you hit the number of cards that you want to draw from that pile, they'll all go straight to your hand. Just touch the number on the numeric keypad.
Just pick them all up. Yep.
Oh, okie dokie. So you kind of undermined what I was planning, which is annoying. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and use a heroic just so we can experience it. And I'm going to play Drain here. And I play it straight to my discard pile. And we're basically going to take off all of your enhancements from your 2 heroes that are out there.
So it's not just one hero, it's both?
Yep.
So all enhancements, discard of 1 opponent. So I'm an opponent, so it doesn't say 1 hero. Okay, so those Correct. Are all gone.
So all right. Your heroes, it would say all opposing heroes.
Yep. Very good.
Yep. All right, and so that's the end of my turn. So again, heroic cards are truly heroic, they're going to basically be that one-shot wonder, ability, and I can't use any of my other abilities or any of the hero acronym.
All right, so on my turn, I'm going to use Absorb. I'm going to discard all the enhancements from Grit that you just pulled off. There are none, so that's fine. And then I get to take all of the enhancements from one of your heroes. Am I reading that right?
If you're, let's see it. So Absorb. Yep. So it's basically Rogue, right? From the X-Men. So you're taking all the abilities and stats off of one of my heroes and putting it on one of yours.
So Grit says, I want these.
Yep.
All right, so Grit now has Protect and Convert. I don't know how good those are. We're going to find out, but that will be the end of my turn.
Yeah, you should take a look. Yeah.
I'll leave these face up now that we both know what they are.
That's fine. Mm-hmm. Although you don't have to, right? If you're banking on the fact that I have a bad memory, you could hide them back underneath your hero. That would be.
They're both passive. When he's defeated, I can take control of any hero. That's handy. And if another hero is attacked, I can prevent. Oh, I think Grit just became more troublesome than ever.
Yeah, so like if I attack Zoe, you block my attack now, but then you also have Convert, so I have to take out Grit, but I know I'm going to lose a hero when I do.
Right.
So
he's just got Grit. He's just a stubborn old man. He's just getting more stubborn by the minute.
A nice little 1-2 combo there. Yeah. Okay. Well, just want to be cognizant of your time. How are you doing?
Let's keep on rocking. We've got
cool.
We'll see how far we can get.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and use Boost again then, because you have not done anything to Akio and you just let me keep using it. So I will discard one. I'll discard
my
2
attack cards.
And I'm going to draw my last 5 cards in my deck. Yep. So I would have been able to draw up to 7 heroes or 6 heroes just then, but because I only had 5 left, I just take the 5 that are there. Okay.
Yep.
And then next I'm going to use Aang's. How many hand count? Oh, none. Not.
No, I have 2 in my hand. I thought you already activated that ability.
Okay,
so I have 2 cards.
I'll activate it. Yeah, I'll activate it because I didn't know what it was at the time. So I will fatigue Yasmin here in order to discard those 2 cards.
Yep.
And then I'm going to use K's ability to drop a card on the field as well, I think.
All right.
Just to figure out what I want to put down, though. All right. You're not going to be able to read this that quickly anyway. I'm not going to make you blindfold yourself again. Oops.
All right. I think I already saw that. Well, I saw cards from your hand, but I wouldn't know which one you're playing. That's right. So.
Oh, that's true. Fair point. All right. So I went ahead and added an ability to Yasmin using K's ability.
Right.
And then I'm actually going to do a healing action for my turn. So I've used my abilities. I'm going to heal my 2 heroes that are out there.
Yeah, and then you can still play 3 more cards.
Correct, and that is exactly what I intend to do. So we're going to drop... I'm going to drop 1 and drop 2 abilities. We're going to put those on K, except for whatever reason I'm struggling to get those lined up there. And I'm just not going to worry about the blindfolding anymore.
Yeah.
We're going to move those over there. And then I'm going to go ahead and throw down... I'll throw down 1 more ability, and I'm just going to start beefing up my team a little bit. Okay.
All right.
I can do that number. All right, so over to you.
You have a super beefy team. Interesting. All right. So
this is what I like to call a ragtag engine, and it's not my strongest engine, but that's mostly because you have disrupted my engine every time I've tried to do something so far. So
I'm drawing 3 cards, and I can play up to 3 cards. Oh, I see. Okay, I might as well just play all 3 of them. So we'll put that under Zoe. Put that under Zoe. And Put this under grit. Okay, your turn.
Yeah, so interesting point that I want to note. We have not done a whole lot of fighting this game. Have you noticed that?
We started off in a little bit of a fighting, but then the amount of cards you drew made it difficult for me to decide to attack you.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of those sticking points that I want to point out, because in a lot of other card games that you play, there's a lot of dueling, and this is really focused on trying to build up your engine initially so that you can get to a point where it's worthwhile to do the fighting, right?
Yeah, you want to make sure that if you're going to attack, it's going to matter.
Yeah, exactly, and that's really important to me in gameplay, because I really, as much fun as I had with like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon when I was a kid, and the storyline and some of the nature of those, just the constant dueling as I've gotten older has not been nearly as attractive for me. But the idea of still having an objective where you're trying to take out, an opponent, it's got a flavor to it that I enjoy, and not knowing whether you're winning or losing at any given point in time is really helpful as well. So my wife is one of those players who she hates knowing like that she's losing a game, right?
Yeah, it's a tough thing to want to finish when you already know it's a lost cause.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to use K's ability here, Backfire, to look at all of your abilities that are on the field. So you've got collateral damage and prevention. Wow, you are super defensive. Cool. Yeah, when you stole my 2 cards and combined it with prevention, that just became pretty nasty, actually. Okay.
We're just trying to survive in this harsh world. My sky base is all I have left.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep going with the direction that I was headed, and I'm gonna use Accelerate under Yasmin, and I'm gonna tell you that you need to draw 3 cards, and you're gonna discard 2 cards from your hand after having done so. So essentially, just trying to mill your deck a little bit, right? Which is ultimately kind of my goal initially with Under Siege.
Right. Okay.
And then, go ahead. You have a question?
Nope. I'm ready to discard my last card once you play your other ability.
Yeah. I'm not going to play that ability because you only have 1 card in your hand. I'm not ready to do that to you yet. So I'm going to be nice and hope that you. Okay.
Enjoy my 1 card.
I'm going to use K's ability to put a card on the field. So we're going to drop an ability here onto Yasmin and bring her up there. And then for my turn, I'm going to recruit. And so there's only 3 heroes left. And again, I just want to start messing with you some. So Origin and Kiata both have pretty high offense about them. So I'm going to pick them up and bring them to my hand. And that's the end of my turn.
Yeah, the toughest thing I have right now is that if I were to draw the heroes, I know they're just going to get discarded, so I don't really have the option to recruit. Yeah. Because I can only recruit 2 cards, and you can make me discard 2 cards anytime you want. So it puts me in a bit of a bind.
Yeah, you got into a sticky situation pretty early.
So this turn we're going to take some offensive, and it's probably going to burn me, but I don't have many options at this point.
And I think your abilities are going to help you out anyway. I mean, having prevention, protect, and convert there, even if you go on the offensive, like you're in a safe place to do that right now.
The first thing I'm going to do is attack with my Zoe that is 80, and Zoe is going to attempt to defeat. She's got 80. Going to attempt to defeat Yasmin.
All right, so Yasmin has 30 defense, has an ability, but doesn't come in handy. So if she was fatigued, she would get an extra 20 defense for every hero in a strengthened position, which would be anybody that's vertical. Unfortunately, She is not fatigued, and so you knocked her out.
And so does Zoe fatigue now or at the end of the turn?
At the end of the battle. So yeah, she's fatigued, and if you want to keep attacking, you've got grit there to do so.
So Zoe is now beefed grit up to a 20.
Yep. That's a mighty number there.
A 20? So he's not strong enough to defeat anybody. What is Zhao doing here? Is that the last guy that can be recruited?
Yeah, he's the last one. Yep.
Interrupting my zone. Okay. And this hero is defeated. No. I can't really defeat another hero because your defenses are all too high. So that is it. That's all I can do. Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to recruit the last hero. And then I'm going to use K's ability to put a hero on the field.
Yep.
And go ahead and get her down there. And then I don't want to do that. I was going to boost you, but that's silly now. If I'm gonna whittle you down, I want to do it over time. So yeah, this is interesting. I will go ahead. Your hand count, you still only have one. I'll go ahead and use reduction on you now. So we'll fatigue one of my heroes here, and I'm gonna fatigue Zhao here because.
All right.
Yep. And that'll be the end of my turn.
So at the beginning of my turn, before I choose an action, I can use Zoe's heal ability and heal her. Is that correct?
Yep.
So
you could heal Zhao also if you really want to.
I'm going to refrain from that because Zhao's just not been my friend. All right. Zhao, okay. So now I'm going to stay offensive because we're just in that kind of mood right now. Zoe is still an 80, and she is going to try to take down H.E.R.O.
Okay. So he's got 70 defense, and his ability doesn't help him down there. And what do you say your offense is? 80?
Yep.
Nice. So wait. So you got that 50 and the 30 underneath. Yeah, so that's 80. So H.E.R.O is going to be defeated. Nice.
So that's the end of that battle. So now Grit is effectively a 40 attack power.
Correct. Yep.
So Grit is going to go after K.
All right. So K's got that 40 defense. And I believe that is all that I can do with her. Hang on, let me make sure. Yep, I put that card underneath of the wrong character. That was a mistake. Oh, so here's an interesting point. So missing triggers, this is a big deal. So you defeated K, but there is a card right underneath of her that I should have used when you tried to heal Zoe just then.
Right.
It actually would have prevented one active ability per turn, so I could have prevented you from healing.
So Zoe would have just been suffering the whole turn.
Yeah, but I missed my trigger, which again, it's very much like other games. You know, if you miss something and you're not really paying attention, right, it's going to be the reason you lose. I read once, Chess Master said that it's not really so much about winning as much as it is not, making the first mistake. Right?
Yeah, and anybody that's ever watched or been involved in a Magic tournament, it's just one bad tap or one misplay that usually ends the game. It's not all the cards you drew, it's how you played them.
All right, so you attacked with Grit, so that would fatigue him.
Yes, so I am done my turn because there's nothing further I can do.
Okie dokie. I am feeling the heat, and you could theoretically end up beating me this game, but we're going to hope that's not the case.
You still have a handful of cards. You just have no more. Well, you still have heroes you can recruit too. I just managed to be dispensing them because
I have the heroes that are in my hand, but there's no other heroes on the field for recruiting, so those are all gone. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead.
It all started when you took down Ignacia. I mean, Grit he can't forgive you.
Yeah, it's true. Well, this is tough because Aang only has 10 attack, and I can't really mess with you, and your heroes are going to come back to full health in a minute. So I'm going to play a numbers game, and I'm going to drop 2 more heroes down the field. I'm enhancing.
Yes.
Or I guess, you know what, I'll heal because I can. So I'll heal, and I'll play 3 to the field. So I played 1, 2, and I need to get... So Origin is my most beefy character that's out there from a defensive standpoint currently, so I'm going to give her some attack power.
Yep, because she can ignore any one attack.
Yep. All right, and so it's your turn.
Okay, so Zoe can heal any one hero. If this hero's attack, you may discard this ability to block the attacks and all other attacks against your hero until the start of your next turn. So she's pretty protected. We're going to use her ability to heal the Mighty Grit. She's got to protect the mentor, the leader of the pack. Then we will enhance, which means I get to draw 3 cards and play up to 3 cards. We've got some interesting stuff here. Oh, I see that one. Okay.
So another option is you could just end your turn and not do anything. I'd be okay with that.
I could, and then you'll just make me discard my hand again like you've done every turn. So I'll ask you to blind yourself.
Yep.
And all right, so we're going to be putting this. I'll leave the rest of the cards for grit reveal just for the people that are watching to be able to know what they are. And then I'll put this one under this character. And I'll leave those other 2 cards. Well, I'll just kind of pick it all up here in a sec. All right. And then this one I will keep in my hand. So, yep, I'm done my turn.
All righty. Let's see. Okay, so you added an ability, 2 abilities, it looked like.
Yep, I kept 1 card in my hand.
And did you add a stack card, or no? You just played 2 cards.
Okay. 2 abilities, and that's it. Yep.
Yeah, and that's an important point. If you look at the rules reference here, it says that you can draw up to and play up to constantly and recruit up to. So if you ever want to not draw or play or recruit, that is entirely acceptable.
Right.
In my early days of playing this game, there were a lot of times where I literally just wouldn't draw any cards to my hand, and I still do it on occasion, depending on what I feel like is happening with the other person's deck. And that's really helpful. Like if you go with the more competitive gameplay and you both draw and build your deck the way you want to, I know what's in your deck. And so the question is can I read you well enough to know when you're going to play certain things in different circumstances, right?
Yeah, and what I decide to do could be entirely based on the actions I've already seen you trigger against me a few times. So.
Yeah, I figured. Alrighty. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I really want to take out Zoe, right?
She knows that. She knows.
But she's protected. She's protected by Grit, and I'm gonna lose a hero when I attack. So Grit's got this 90 defense, and he has some hidden ability that I don't know what it is. I'm gonna guess it's a defensive boost, but I don't know for sure. So let's pop it and figure out what's going on underneath. I'm going to attack with Kiara and Zhao at the same time, and I'm going to attack Grit with the 2 of them.
That's a total attack of 160?
160, yep. Sorry, I should have said that. So you got 160 attack coming at Grit. How much defense do you have?
Just 1 sec. Another hero is attacked. When this hero is defeated, okay. So I only have 90 defense.
Okay, so that ability does not help you then.
It does not.
All right, cool. So Grit's off the field then.
So when this hero is defeated, I may take control of any hero, moving it to my play area and discard all of its enhancements. If fatigued, the hero must stay that way. So I get to choose any one of your heroes to become my hero.
Note that it says any hero. So if you were playing a 4-player free-for-all, you could take a hero from any player at the table, even if they were not involved in the fight.
Right. So we're going to take, actually, you know what? I'm going to take Ing just so I can keep the card that's in my hand.
And it forces me to discard the cards that were underneath of him. Nice.
Yeah, and so I didn't want you to have that get rid of my hand ability anymore. I've had enough of that. Now, so I had a bolster under there, which helped his attack, but that doesn't help me now. Protect didn't help. Collateral damage didn't help. So, okay.
Yep. Alrighty, so 3v2, there's no heroes left to be recruited. We are in an end-game scenario at this point. And I have to figure out what the heck I'm going to do. Because I just don't know that I'm in a good state of being. You've got 10 attack, and you've got, 80 attack? Is that right? Yeah, 80 attack with Zoe, 10 attack with Aang. She's going to have to heal, but she'll heal on your next turn automatically, which puts you at 90 attack plus whatever abilities you have. That was prevention. I remember that, but I don't remember the other one. I need to take out one of your heroes as quickly as I can. If I can figure out how to take out Aang, even better. He's got 80 defense. Origin's got 80 offense. Nope. Sorry, she's got 110 offense. I'm going to swing on Aang with Origin here.
Yep, so he's out of commission.
Yeah, so this is getting interesting. You're building up your one hero, and I've got a little ragtag team of 3 here at the end of the battle, and we'll see what happens.
All right, so it is now my turn.
Yep.
So I can heal no matter what. Then healing I don't have to do. Recruitment I can't do. So I have a choice between offense or enhancement. If I go offense, I leave myself at your mercy to destroy my sky base because I can only destroy one of your heroes. So the only option I have is to enhance and hope I can find a way to stop you. So I'll draw. Oh wait, let me just put that back for a sec. Let me read the card that's in my hand first.
Another thing you might, and I'll go ahead. Do you want me to give you a quick piece of advice or no?
Sure.
So the other piece is don't forget you have that prevention ability. So even if you attack, you're going to be able to stop me from hitting you at all on the next turn that you use that ability.
Yeah.
It buys you an extra turn.
Okay. Allied heroes may gain +10 while he's in play. When he's defeated, play a card to the field. I don't like that. Oh, and during each opponent's turn, you may block 1 attack against Origin. So I couldn't kill Origin. I'm still going to draw 3 cards, I think. Or I could do that ability. Actually, you know what? Maybe I will do that. So I'm going to fatigue my hero and pay the cost to get rid of Origin.
There it is. And that was a super helpful ability, right? Interestingly, at this point, I think you are out of heroic abilities in your deck. I have, let's see, you had pay the cost. We've done Under Siege. We've seen Drain. We've seen Absorb. Yeah, so I have this other card in my hand. I'm going to show it to you. Drought. It actually blocked heroic ability. So if I had played it to the field like I had considered doing, I could have actually prevented that, right? So I didn't think that one through very well.
All right. You may take your turn. I paid the cost, or you paid the cost.
I paid the cost, yeah. Yeah, in fact, if you hadn't played that card, it would have been really hard to beat Origin using Zoe, right? It kind of depends on what else is left in your deck at that point.
Yeah, she looked a bit, just being able to get 2 attacks with a single hero didn't seem plausible, so she had to go.
So I'm going to go ahead. I have to heal. I have no other options. So I'm going to heal both of my heroes here. And I'm going to go ahead and drop some defense onto H.E.R.O.
Buff them up.
Yep. And then I'm going to split the difference on the offense here between the 2 of them. How do I want to do this? So
these I can look at. They're all just stat cards, so no problem there.
Yeah.
Coyote's a 120 but no defense, and then Zhao is 100 attack and 40 defense. All right.
Yeah, at this point, I think you've won the game, but let's go ahead and play it out.
Yeah, you're messing with Zoe. Zoe is now trying to get vengeance for the loss of grit.
Yeah.
That's the end of your turn?
That is the end of my turn.
So at the beginning of my turn, I can heal Zoe. And then Zoe, she's just going to go on a 1-woman major attack spree. She's pulling a Sarah Connor, if you recognize the reference.
Nice. I like it. The Terminator there.
Yeah, she has become the Terminator. Now, she's going to go after Kiatu, just to go for the easy win.
Yeah, so Kiata is off the field.
And that's the end of my turn.
And at this point, I'm just hoping that Zhao is strong enough to pierce you, except I know that I can't because I'm going to swing at you, and you're going to use prevention immediately. So I'm swinging.
Yep.
Preventing, that actually forces you to discard this card.
I don't have to prevent, actually. Just 1 second.
Seriously, wow. All right, so I've got attack power of 100.
Okay, and right now I have 40 on the field.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to prevent.
Right.
So if this is attack, I discard this ability and all other. Okay, that's okay.
Okay, so it's your turn.
I will heal.
Cheek.
I will draw 3. What's your defense?
Not much. I've got 20 defense currently.
So if I attack, you lose your last hero.
Yep.
That seems like the plausible action.
All right, and then it's my turn, and I can't do anything. So interesting point. If I go for 3 turns without any heroes in front of my base, I automatically lose.
Right.
I don't have any heroes in hand, so I'm automatically going to lose. But I'm going to let you have the pleasure of finishing the game. So my turn is over. It's your turn.
Right. So I could draw cards to beef her up for 100, or I could attack 2 turns in a row.
Yeah. Either way, it's game over at that point. So you'd swing once.
And that would fatigue your base.
It'd be your turn.
And I would fatigue or finish it off.
All right. Now, one of my favorite things to do is pick up that hero card and like throw it off the table.
Who, Zoe?
Or, no, I'm sorry, the Skybase card. Yeah.
Oh,
I'll take that. Chuck it.
Skybase. We'll see you later. Into the ether.
And it's back.
So there you have it. That is a game from start to finish of H.E.R.O. And it was interesting to see because I felt completely overwhelmed when you had me locked down with my cards, and I was locked down to not get any new heroes, but I was able to survive with just 2 heroes on the board against a plethora, almost an army, just through whether it was through the timing of your card play or the decisions on mine. It was just really cool to see how it all worked out and that there's always a chance to win.
Yep, missing triggers hurts.
And missing triggers has a big impact on that. Yeah, I had 9 cards left in my deck, so you had 9 more cards in me that game, but you did discard about 8 of them throughout the game. So some of those cards you discarded could have changed the battle too.
True.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for playing with me today, Wesley. It's really cool to get some insight into some behind the scenes and why you chose to design the game the way you did. I love the fact that there's no mana or energy cost to play cards, so you have full authority to play what you want when you want, but it's a hard decision at the beginning of each turn. What part of H.E.R.O are you going to be each turn, and how is that going to impact your future turns?
Yeah, there's a sacrifice to be made, and I really appreciate you being willing to play tonight and being able to talk to me about this. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, I'll be keeping a close eye on your Kickstarter. I know it's your first one, but you've been working at this for 2 years or more. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a while.
Yeah,
and
about
it's
now.
and sometimes it takes a slow burn to really develop the mechanics, the art, the budget, and all the different things that go into it. Because we have lives behind the scenes, and I know you have a full-time job teaching and the other things that you do with the church and the community. So it's really cool that despite or in tandem with all that, you're able to bring a game like this that people can enjoy. So look forward to seeing it, and I'll make sure I put a link to it in the YouTube description once it is live. And if anybody has any questions, Wesley is very receptive to feedback and answering it on Facebook, whether it's Messenger or through his email or through any other forums. So.
Yeah, and they can always check out the Facebook group if they just search H.E.R.O the card game and join the group. You can like the page also, but the group is the easiest place to get most up-to-date information. And then anthemcreations.com, and I've got an email sign up on there as well.
And I must say, Zoe is the champion of the game, so she will be featured heavily on the YouTube. What do they call it? The thumbnail. She will be on the forefront of that to represent her victory, and maybe we'll have Grit sitting to the side in the background, watching on, very very happy with what she did to redeem our sky base.
Yes, very good, very good.
All right, I'll shut this recording down now, and we shall close off. Let's turn off